By the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Jay has the evening off. Governor Steve Bullock says no deal to the company that operates Montana's only private prison. He says Tennessee-based CoreCivic wanted what amounts to a 15% increase in its daily payments for running the facility. The governor told MTN News late today that this administration has rejected a contract extension offer from owners of the private prison in Shelby. Bullock says his budget and corrections directors flew to Nashville, Tennessee earlier this week to meet with officials from CoreCivic, which owns the 700-bed prison. They discussed how Montana might extend the prison contract that expires in 2019 and recoup some of the state money held by CoreCivic to offset state budget cuts. But the governor says CoreCivic's final offer included increasing its per prisoner per day payment by about $12 a day. However, the deal would have ended a $9 use fee paid by the state, meaning a net increase of about $3 a day or about 4%. Still, Bullock says the higher fee isn't acceptable, especially when it means state human services elsewhere still face cuts.
At best, even if we had reached a deal, $15 million of that would have gone to mitigate some of those cuts. And where it leaves us is that we sure as hell shouldn't be entering into a contract that increases 15% for private prison providers at the same time that we're cutting services all across the state.
Now, right now, the state has 600 prisoners at the facility that's just south of Shelby. President Trump is calling on the National Guard to help secure the U.S. border with Mexico. This development comes at what the administration calls a staggering increase in illegal traffic across the border. Angelica Alvarez reports.
In a memorandum released Wednesday night, President Trump authorized the use of National Guard troops to help secure the U.S. border with Mexico.
Our current border security and immigration laws fail the American people. The system rewards bad behavior.
Senior administration officials tell CBS News the troops will be deployed in collaboration with the border governors to assist with surveillance and administrative duties, not apprehensions. Details about estimated cost, duration, and size of the force are still unclear.
It will be strong. It will be as many as is needed to fill the gaps that we have today.
President Trump has ramped up his tough talk on immigration in recent days after making little progress on his campaign promise to build a border wall. On Tuesday, the president seized on this year's caravan of over 1,000 migrants traveling to Mexico to draw attention to the refugee crisis in Central America.
The caravan, which is over 1,000 people coming in from Honduras, thought they were going to just walk right through Mexico and right through the border.
So far this year, border arrests are down, but the Trump administration says it fears a springtime surge in the smuggling of people and drugs. Angelica Alvarez, CBS News, the White House.
In other news tonight, former Montana Superintendent of Public Instruction Denise Juneau is headed to Washington. In a unanimous vote tonight, the Seattle Public School Board of Trustees named Juneau its new superintendent. She oversaw about 145,000 public school students in the entire state of Montana. Now she'll be responsible for 54,000 in Seattle alone. Now, Juneau will be the first Native American superintendent in Washington state history and will be the district's 5th superintendent in the last 10 years. Turning our attention to weather, Bob, I'm trying to embrace this extended winter, but you know what? I had flowers that were popping up.
You may have to enjoy the second generation of those because we got some trouble. Let me show you what's happening out there. We go to the threat board, and that's starting to fill up quite a bit. You'll notice the area in purple. That's the Billings area. That's where we have a winter weather advisory. Could see maybe in some cases 3 to 6 inches, some cases up to 11 inches of snow. And also, that's a winter storm warning in the Beartooth, maybe up to 12 to 16 inches of snow there. Meantime, the snow is just kind of near us tonight. It'll probably die down a little bit overnight, and then by tomorrow morning, about 8:30 or so, the snow should return. It'll stick around off and on throughout most of the day, and even by midnight, we're looking at some heavy snow moving in. So how much snow are we going to get out of this? Well, the 4 computer models we look at are kind of varied, but let's take a look at the middle two. The one in yellow, that's a GFS. That says we're going to get maybe 4.75 inches of snow out of this. And the other one, that is what we call the European model. That says we get over 7 inches of snow. So somewhere, I'm guessing, anywhere between 5 and about 7 inches of snow expected by the time the weekend begins. Juneau?
All right, thanks so much, Bob. Well, the recent cold, wet weather is starting to concern local farmers anxious to get spring planting underway. A survey this week from the U.S. Ag Department found virtually no field crops planted in Montana. But once planting starts, farmers should have plenty to work with.
The moisture levels are great. So one thing we know is that when we end up planting, we'll be planting into moisture, which is going to be good for the farmers here. But that isn't to say that they're not ready to get in the fields, because we are seeing that delay, especially when we're talking about barley. A lot of farmers would already probably be done planting at this time, and several are, or probably the majority, are not even in the field yet.
Montana farmers usually begin planting spring wheat on April 6th and try to finish within the month. Agriculture is connected to everything we do, and this week students are here in Billings learning more about the industry. About 2,000 students are attending the 88th annual Montana FFA Convention. It's a chance for them to learn skills that will help them with communication, leadership, and serving. The organization is about more than agriculture and will help these students no matter what career path they take.
It is not just about, we like to say, sows, plows, and cows. It's for the future doctors, the future engineers, the future scientists. Anyone that has any dreams or aspirations for the future, FFA will help you get there.
So what I've learned about FFA and about life is that just take every experience you can. Like, just do one thing, and that one thing can lead to another thing and continue to grow your not only who you are, but also the people around you.
I had a real interest in agriculture, and it kind of developed that passion. I remember my freshman year, my teacher telling me, it doesn't matter what you do, just find something to be passionate about, and that's what I was able to connect with.
Now, the state FFA convention runs through Saturday. Some students are competing in different events, and the winners will move on to compete in the national convention in Indianapolis in the fall. Just 5 weeks from now, absentee ballots go out for Montana's primary election, and 3 weeks later, voters will head to the polls on June 5th. Now, the top race on this ballot is the U.S. Senate, where 4 Republicans are vying for the nomination to challenge Democratic incumbent Jon Tester. Tonight, MTN's Mike Dennison gives us a closer look at 2 of the candidates in this 4-way contest, Troy Downing and Russ Fagg.
Businessman and high-tech entrepreneur Troy Downing didn't grow up in Montana, but he says he feels like he should have.
I've always been a Montanan. Just took me 31 years to get here.
The 51-year-old Downing grew up in Southern California, went to college at New York University, and started a web calendar company that merged with internet pioneer Yahoo in the late 1990s. He first came to Montana in 1998, built a home at Big Sky 2 years later, and has made that his permanent home since 2009. Downing says he got into the Senate race because he believes a non-traditional politician is the person to beat Tester.
Montanans voted overwhelmingly for President Donald Trump because he was a businessman, someone who saw the drastic need for change, and someone who isn't afraid of shaking up the status quo.
Downing pledges his full support for President Trump's agenda and also frequently mentions his post-9/11 enlistment in the Air Force, serving on air rescue missions in Afghanistan. Russell Fagg of Billings likes to talk about his background as well, as a state lawmaker and, for 25 years, state district judge.
I think that really puts me in a unique position because I've seen the best in humanity and I've seen the worst in humanity.
The 57-year-old Fagg stepped down from his judgeship last fall to run for the Senate seat. When it comes to beating Tester, Fagg talks first about his native Montana roots and says that gives him an edge over competitors he says will be labeled as Johnny-come-latelys, like Downing.
I appreciate everybody that has moved to Montana because they love Montana. But the Democrats are going to unmercifully beat up 2 of my opponents because they moved here 9 years ago and 15 years ago.
Fagg has a law degree from the University of Montana, and his father is a prominent Billings architect and former legislative leader. As the election approaches, we'll be telling you where these candidates stand and how they differ. But first, there's 2 more Republicans to meet, Al Olszewski and Matt Rosendale. That's tomorrow. From Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Thanks so much, Mike. Now, Senator Jon Tester faces no opposition in the Democratic primary this June. Coming up on tonight's 10 o'clock news, a new wind farm operation could generate more than power for Dawson County. And later, it's a landmark anniversary, 50 years since Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. We'll look at today's ceremonies. And in sports, Scott chats with Hall of Fame sportscaster Brent Musburger why his XM radio show on sports gambling may soon affect Montana.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Jeanelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.